Oh yeah, it's Medellin Podcast.
Episode 21 of the Medellin Podcast.
And today is a very special episode.
Why is it very special, Andrew?
Because it's the first episode of 2020.
It's actually the second.
Yep.
But the first film of 2020.
Yes, sir.
And it's also special because we got the man, the myth, the legend, the man behind the camera and behind the sound. Now in front of the camera, the man they call Airing Don't Care, Flippy Luis Felipe, formerly known as all sorts of shit. Go ask your mama. Show them the earring. He's wearing a brand new coconut shell performance enhancing earring, which will help us out this year to bring you the best quality of sound and audio, which is the same thing, video. Right?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Welcome to 2020, bitches.
I actually told them everything they know.
Welcome to the Medellin Podcast, episode 21. My name is Andrew Messia.
I'm Joel Duncan.
And to my right, I have...
Hey, I'm Felipe. I'm usually the man behind the camera. Sometimes you hear my voice, sometimes you don't. And today, I'm in front of the camera.
Yeah, he's usually the guy, he's the sound engineer, the video engineer.
The clapper.
The clapper, he does the clap.
Yeah.
And he also does the video editing.
The drinks engineer.
And the drinks engineer.
He has a big role.
So today we're drinking Crown Royale. It's a whiskey.
From Canada.
Yeah. And
It's actually quite tasty.
yeah, it's really smooth.
Don't forget to shout out our sponsors that never will be.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, our sponsor. And yeah.
Yeah, so today is kind of a different type of podcast. It's the first podcast that we're recording in 2020. And Felipe has something special in store for us today. But before we get to that, I actually wanted to ask you guys a couple questions, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So I'll start off with Joel.
Ooh.
So 2019 passed. We're heading to your 9th year in Medellin.
Yep.
My 10th year in Medellin. And of course, Felipe, he was born and raised here.
32nd.
You're 32nd?
32nd year in Medellin.
He's a 30 plus. Remember,
He's a 30 plus. He's a 30 plus.
That's not
That
a
actually
size.
never made the episode, so people don't know the reference.
Yeah, he's a 30 plus. Anyway, my question to Joel is, in 2019, what was your best memory on the podcast? If that's too broad, I have a...
Wow, that one's very broad. I had many.
Okay,
great
what is your favorite episode that we recorded?
I don't want to, make anyone feel that their episode wasn't good, but one of the episodes where I think the numbers talk is the episode with Brandon, who is the owner of Opa Korean Asado, or did I mess that
Opa
up?
Asado
Opa
Coreano.
Asado Coreano. And you can tell by the numbers because we recorded for 3 hours.
Yep.
3 hours nonstop, and Felipe had to cut it down to how much?
An hour and 25, I think.
An hour and
Well,
25.
It's either an hour and 25 or an hour and 35.
And there's some great gems in there.
No episode has gone over an hour and 35. Like that's our
longest.
yeah.
But in recording time, it was definitely
It was 3 hours.
3 hours. And the reason it was my favorite is because I laughed the most. Genuinely laughed. Like, we laughed uncontrollably, as far as I recall. We were laughing to the point where
With 30 plus.
with Felipe saying that he was 30 plus years old. When then we asking him if it was the size of his waistband, if he's a 30 plus, and just a bunch of random stuff, and it was a great episode, and there were many others, but for me, for sure. What was yours?
I have a few. I would say, yeah, the Opa one with Sangmin was a really good one. Obviously, the one with Alan Gongora was great. I had a great time there because I got to ask him a bunch of stuff that I didn't know about in regards to drinking and drugs and prostitution that I know a lot of the viewers probably appreciated.
And donkey sex.
And we talked about donkey sex on the coast. Yeah, I mean, I really loved the one with Michael. I thought the one with Michael was great because even though you work with someone and you're there with him like every day and you see him every day, you don't really know him until you're kind of in a setting where you have to ask questions.
Yeah.
So I think I didn't even know his why he got to Medellin or what happened in Medellin. So it was more gratifying. I think it was more special because I got to know him better. So I feel like I'm closer to him now.
Yeah.
What about Felipe? What was your favorite so far?
I mean, talk about challenges. I have fondness of the ones that have been the most challenging because through that challenge I've raised as a better producer, as a better editor, everything. So I guess in a certain way, each and every one has been my favorite because I'm always looking like.
That's like when somebody asks you in a job interview, name your weakness, and you're like, well,
no.
I don't really.
But
sometimes I'm too organized.
Yeah, I'm too organized.
No.
You know,
But I think my favorite was Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
of the whole experience of going to Mexico.
There's so many. They're so fun.
And just going, above and beyond our drunken state to collect ourselves and actually produce a show there. It was madness, but they all have been madness, but madness in the good way. But I think if someone pointed a gun to my head and said you can only listen to one, I think I would listen to maybe the Son del Barrio one. Because
and it's funny that
fun.
it's funny that you mentioned pointing a gun to your head and making you watch. None of you should be watching if you don't want to watch or are offended by any of the stupid shit we say. You can suck a dick. And so
or whatever else you choose to suck.
There's way things that can be
just
sucked.
turn it off.
Suckers.
Stop following.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who cares?
I think that's one thing I learned. I learned from 2020. And we're not gonna call anybody out to give you any sort of fame on here. But listen, if you've got a really big problem with something that we're doing, you don't like our style or whatever, there's no problem. There's billions of people out there. There's
go watch something.
Websites coming
Go watch
out every
something
year.
else. Go
watch
listen to something else.
Sign off. We have no problem. We're not here to be your friend. If you want to be our friend, great. We're not here to be, as Andrew said, like certain people. They're not going to be your friends or enemies. Just close your browser. Go to something else. Listen to Joe Rogan.
Go police someone else.
Go police. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's fair to say that we're up for constructive criticism, but that's the thing. We're up for constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And you need to. I don't think we do anything that it's like misguiding in the show. Like we sit down with friends or with people that we want to know better, and we drink, and we tell things like they are, and we don't say sorry. And so following those principles, like the fact that some people get like with no purpose upset is kind of funny in the ridiculous way. But
but
you
also,
you go watch something else.
But there's a trend. They're the same people that you see in groups trolling and making dumbass comments.
It's like the thing that you mentioned Joe Rogan is the thing that Kevin Hart said in the episode with Joe Rogan. People think being negative is cool.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Well, it gets them more attention than being positive.
Yeah, and it's easier to be negative.
But you're not gonna get attention from us.
So there's a lot of things, and one thing that I thought about a lot over this Christmas as I was freezing my ass off in Canada and I got to be by myself and think about, I was telling Felipe today, if somebody leaves a message that to me is negative, and you know who you are, you leave some it's like a personal attack. There's a few things to that people watching this show, I think, must understand that some of the guests that come on this show are our friends or acquaintances, and we have background to them. We're not going to invite a stranger on the show and start spitting, some sort of perverted talk or whatever and we've never met them. We speak because they're our friends and we're on that level. So you should know that anybody here, if we do say something that's offensive to someone and they didn't like that and they tell us, hey, we don't like that, it gets cut. And we do cut. We try not to cut a lot of stuff because the reason that this, call it show, I think has gained a little bit of traction and people have written on Instagram and even on some of the comments is that we're talking real stuff that they benefit from. And I hope that at least in 2020 for this show, I was joking like I'm going to stop using words like bitches and stuff like that, which I never call a woman that, but on this show I'll speak that, is that we'll continue to be real. Right? Like if you guys, if people want to watch Oprah Winfrey or somebody else that's everything's politically correct and you want to feel great and cuddly after, that's Oprah. That's probably not the show for you.
And that already exists. So it doesn't even make sense for us to be something that already exists. Mm-hmm. We are us. We are the real deal.
Yeah.
In when it comes to this kind of thing.
And in all honesty, we do this. Well, at least I do it for fun.
Yeah.
I do it for fun.
100%.
If someone learns something from it, more power to them, because I'm not spitting any knowledge out here.
Well, you are. You're giving a lot. I think you give a lot of deep
yeah.
insight. A lot of like your opinion, and that's why in our last Instagram post I said if you can filter through some of the garbage we talk, I believe there's a lot of gems there. Because if I were traveling and I didn't, I was listening to some dudes that lived here for 9 years, and they're spitting facts and they're not buttering the place up. We have no agenda, right? I don't think that we have any sort of agenda. Like, we're not here to sell you Medellin to come live here. As a matter of fact, we're trying to let you not come here. So there's, more playing ground for us. But we haven't no agenda other than to tell you about the city.
How it is.
And wait, what do you think? Because Andrew, one of the things that Andrew, I think one of your favorite bits about the show is business and entrepreneurship.
Right. Yeah.
Would you say because
that's your knack in general, no?
Yeah. I mean, I love having guests where we could talk about business, and I mean, because that's what I do every day. I mean, I come to the office literally every single day, even on holidays, on weekends. I'm kind of obsessed. So it's great to meet people that are like-minded.
Yeah.
So yeah, having guests that are my friends that I've known for a while and that are in different different industries and doing different things in business, it's always great because you get to learn from them. So I hope that our questions to them help people that are watching out there. I know we get belligerent and talk nonsense, but I do think that we have some good insight and some good from our guests mainly. Yeah, I mean, moving forward, we're going to have this year in 2020, I think we're going to step it up and have even more guests, more female guests too. Although last year we had about five. Yeah, we had 5 female guests, which is pretty good out of 19 episodes that were filmed or 20 episodes that were filmed in 1919. So more female guests. So obviously if you want to be on, you should write us.
Yep.
And if you, even if you're a male guest, we love to talk to people. It's actually sometimes, and I think Joel will agree with this, it's sometimes even more fun or more gratifying sometimes when we interview someone that we don't know personally, because we get to ask all those like icebreaker questions first. With someone that we know, we kind of have to play it off like, oh, so what do you do? But if it's someone that we don't know, it's even more fun. It's more interesting to dive deep into what they do. So yeah, hit us up. So on this episode, Felipe had come up with an idea, Joel.
Yeah.
That for the first 2020 recording, let's do a recap, kind of like a reaction type episode to reacting to episodes that we filmed last year.
Well, first of all, cheers.
Cheers. Happy 2020.
Happy 2020.
2020.
And happy 2019 because it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So the idea here, correct me if I'm wrong, but this podcast basically was born because basically every Friday we were drinking anyways. We were so we actually turned that drinking into something positive, doing recordings and shit like that. And for the first one, this space was completely different. We had a big old couch with a big wooden table and just one microphone that barely picked us up.
Yeah.
And we actually had Jason, who's running the cameras today. Shout out to Jason. Mm-hmm. And we just talk silly. And we actually recorded the first one on July 26, 2019.
July 26th, that's a big day. We got to have an anniversary party on July 26th.
Yeah, and we talked about Feria de Flores. Mm-hmm. and the funny thing about it is that when we first started, when we were going into it, we thought that maybe Jason and I were going to be like complete haters. But as we talked about everything, it turns out that that was kind of like the genesis of the premise of the show, of us telling shit like it is. Like, oh yes, I like this about it, but I don't really like this about it, or I enjoy certain aspects. This has happened to me, or this has happened to me. So what we're gonna do next is we're just gonna watch a little bit of each episode.
Okay.
And if at any point you guys want to pause it and comment on something, say pause, or we'll just watch the clip, and the audience will have that clip with them, and we'll just comment about it. And I have some questions that I wrote for you.
All right,
guys.
let's give it a try. Let's
All right.
do it.
All right.
So this is the very first episode.
Do that one without this on. All right.
Shouldn't be like a feria de flores now.
Do it like a feria de flores. Very
That's when I was first teaching Andrew the guitar.
Even though it's Jason
He's a
playing.
fast learner. Oh, it's Jason.
Yeah, that was a good one. So this is our first podcast ever. And
Our image has changed quite a bit.
yeah.
It has.
Yeah,
You've gotten less
branding.
red.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually have a question for you, Felipe.
Yeah.
Speaking to someone, for example, let's say someone is in Medellin and wants to do their own podcast or their own video blog. How easy is it to get equipment like a microphone, the arm, the camera, and the lights?
Well, getting if you have the money is supremely easy. Just go to Amazon and buy it, right? You have to do the research, and you need to know your space. This type of things do require knowledge. So look for someone who has the knowledge.
You said Amazon, so for those of you that don't know, Amazon does deliver to Colombia. Certain Amazon, not all of Amazon
Products. Yeah.
products and distributors and sellers do, but there are certain ones that do have shipping to Colombia, and it gets here fairly quickly, with between 4 to 10 days quickly.
Yep.
So I think my other question to you is so if you have the money, it's more expensive to get the equipment here in Colombia, like for example, for locally sourced.
If you're spending pesos, yes, and if you are, and yes, because some retailers here do have to, account
Pay
how do you
for
say it? Pay for taxes and shit like that. So
Right.
yes, so it
marks up.
is more likely than not it's going to be cheaper if you order a bunch of shit from Amazon.
So in regards to the equipment that we use, just so that the public knows, we have nothing to hide, full disclosure, and also it may help somebody. For example, this microphone.
Actually, shameless plug. If you want a full podcast consulting, I'm launching that in
Yeah, I
2020.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, well, not only podcast, but just video recording and editing.
If you want to launch like a video or audio program, just hit me up on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever.
We need to throw you in this video. I mean, it's up here right now on the screen. Drunk has. That's like a
Add drunk has.
avocado. Is that an avocado?
No.
Drunk DRUNKHAS.
And that's Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Drunk has.
Or
Look him
Felipe
up.
on Facebook.
Yeah, Felipe on Facebook.
Just
Felipe
Felipe
Quintana
and
Bohorquez on Facebook.
Yeah, nobody will find that shit.
Yeah.
Felipe Quintana Bohorquez. First of all, good luck spelling that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got another question. So, if you're starting a podcast or let's say a video blog, and you want to get let's say you get all the equipment and stuff, a location, like getting the location ready.
Yep.
Would you say that's primordial, or can you just do it in your own home or in your own office?
It depends on the kind of product that you want out. Because if you are really looking for something that is like just really well produced, like my product needs to be there can't be any sounds, there can be no interruptions, it has to be super clean because that's why my audience wants, then yes, you need to treat your room, you need to hire someone that can come in and proof your room. If you notice, our room's not proofed.
Right. We get a lot of echo. Still,
we get echo, we get noises and shit like that.
bleeding, yeah, and bleeding between microphones.
Bleeding with the microphones. I believe that's going to be fixed coming February because we're moving to another location. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I mean, it all depends on the type of product that you're putting out, and our product is primarily based on being on friends sitting around, acquaintances sitting around, drinking and being raw and telling you how it is.
Yeah, we're not trying to get the highest quality sound.
So
our quality it's true to our premise.
Right.
And so in that sense it works. But if you're looking for someone like if it's like an academic thing or you're a lawyer or something, you probably want something even more cleaner and crisper, even though I think that given the last like 5 episodes or so, we've been putting out very clean and crisp sounding product.
Right. So looking at that first episode that you just that you were just showing here,
it's rough as fuck.
that one's rough. We were shooting on a shotgun microphone, which costs about, how much was that?
It was mine.
Yeah. Do you remember what you paid for that?
No, because I stole it from a friend.
Oh,
story.
wow.
Admitting to crimes on this show.
Sorry, friend.
Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan.
And I hope
And then the video.
We don't even have a stamp for it. It's like a light bulb.
A light bulb, yeah, it was a light bulb stand. And then the camera that we were using back then was Joel's old DSLR.
It's a still one. No, we're still using that one.
No, but that's a newer one, no?
No, that's still the old one. But it's
that's
still the
the
same
old
camera. Just
Oh,
we
same
had no
camera.
lighting.
We had no
one
lighting.
little light.
Yeah, one little light. Okay.
Which is that little one over there in the corner. Maybe we
Okay.
can show it
So
later.
in this episode, we
Well, my socks are fresh. I've been
Hell
looking at
yeah.
that. You guys have just been.
Your shoes
speaking
are
of
clean, too,
A bunch
clean.
of hibba jibba jabber, and my socks are just brilliant.
Let's get through the rest of the clip.
Okay, get through the clip.
This is the Red Door Studio Lounge we're in. Over there is Red
We
Door
sound
Studio.
so boring.
Studio.
Like you can tell it's the first time we're doing something like this.
The only reason it is a lounge is because
Because we're not
this makes it qualifies a lounge. And that's what we're drinking today.
Yeah, don't slam it there because it'll hit them.
Okay, by the way, every podcast from now on, we're going to feature a new type of alcohol.
And we did.
So you have your own alcohol and want to sponsor us. Yeah, if you want to come and be.
That was the birth of the Tequila podcast.
By the way, this is new at Éxito. This is Cazadores.
Fucking Jason making sounds with the guitar. I wanted to kill him all the time.
It's Mexican tequila that hasn't been here ever in Colombia.
It's
So,
good.
yeah, that's pretty good.
This is when Andrew had that little bicep vein going. You know, he put on some weight over the Christmas and he lost the bicep vein. He had the bicep vein.
25, 26, 28 bucks. 28 bucks.
Yeah, that's why
So
you
run
run
is 30 and it's still pretty good.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the Flower Festival.
Wait,
And
what
yeah,
are we?
Yeah, we. Here.
We sound like bored.
Room. In his room.
Let me talk about Fairy Floors.
And I'm Andrew Messia from the Medellin Buzz and Red Door Studio.
Yes, you are.
And California and Colombia. And to my left I got...
I'm Joel Duncan. You may have seen me in several movies. Actually not. I'm Canadian, sort of. And I've been here for 8 years. And I've seen a lot of fairy florists and a lot of other things, and that's what makes me a subject matter expert. And then we have these two here, actual Colombians, like the real deal.
I've got the nicest tan.
Yeah.
Who are you? What?
Who are you?
Well, I'm Jason and I don't like Felipe Flores.
Alright. That's why we got you here.
Yeah.
I am Felipe. I also hate Felipe Flores. I'm also the engineer / bartender
Yeah.
of the podcast.
Still true to this day.
Bartender when there's only just one drink before.
So we got that. We have the two people from Medellin, born.
Shout out to the door open.
Medellin, yeah, and they both hate the Fairy of the Flores, and I'm sure we're gonna get to that. And then we've got me and Andrew, who Andrew's born in Colombia but grew up in Los Angeles, and me, who's an honorary paisa with 8 years on my belt. And I would say we pretty much like Fairy of the Flores. We've got our criticisms, but
I've got small, nice little titties.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of things that I like about it.
Yeah, you're nipping out.
Things that I don't like about it. So, what do you guys... Let's start with the shit that you don't like. What don't you like about it? Like, since you love, or not love, but you like it,
Yeah.
is there something that you don't like about it?
Again, I don't want these guys. I mean, the real people that will really criticize it and hit it hard will be the Colombians. So I'm not going to say anything yet.
Alright.
Well, the not Colombians, but the paisas, the people from. By the way, for those of you who are watching or listening to this, you'll hear us say paisa. some of you already know the paisa is basically anyone from Antioquia, this state, and a lot of times people think it's only for people from Medellin, and it's sort of like synonymous. A paisa is someone from Medellin. So these two are paisas. And so I think the hate should start with the paisas.
Alright, paisas, what do you think?
See, it's funny that you say that because when you say hate, and yet almost all paisas I know, bearing some exceptions, love the Feria de Flores.
All right, so that's from the first episode.
Okay.
I think you were very on point with clarifying on that very first episode, because that's something that's never occurred to me, to clarify, the people who are from Medellin and from Antioquia in general are called paisas.
Okay.
I think that was pretty on point.
That was like my biggest contribution to that episode. I clarified what. Well, we look shinier.
Yep.
Like, if you can zoom.
Well, it's
on
just
some of that
lighting.
shine.
It was lighting. Yeah, definitely the lighting was bad.
I like
but-
my hue though.
But overall, what I got out of that
Yeah.
podcast was that I wanted to do more. You get the itch, like after you record your first one, you're like, shit, we got to record more.
Yeah.
This is so fun.
And we didn't say shit.
Yeah, and it was better, and it got better. It got better. That's what I meant. So yeah, that first episode was definitely a rough one, but
wait. There's something I gotta say about that, and I've a lot of friends that are in business, in Canada here and other places, and people that are like, oh, I want to start my own business, I want to do everything, blah 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 blah. One of the things that I think that people can take away from, I'm in my late 30s, so I got a little bit on my belt I can speak about, is that I think one of the biggest things, and I'm sure Andrew will agree on this, is that you gotta start. And I think like one of the companies that I aspire to be, like we aspire to be like, and when I look at them is Apple. It's like, we've got people with the iPhone 11 now. The iPhone 11 started out as an iPod and an iPod Shuffle, and now it's the iPod 11. And if you showed somebody a Shuffle right now, or a little iPod that can hold, 8 gigs of music, they'd laugh. They'd be like, "How? What the hell is that?" But that's the way they started. They started with their version 1.0. And I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know where this is taking us. We're just flowing with it.
Yeah,
but that was our version 1.0. You got to start with something, man.
I definitely agree. I'm a firm believer in starting things before you even prepare.
Yeah.
I've done that many.
Way more than me.
Yeah. Like I go in, I dive in feet first if I have to.
Blind.
Yep.
Like never learning how to swim, you will dive.
Yeah, I'll dive in and chew. I think that's a flaw and an advantage at the same time.
course.
It's one of those things, like you were saying.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, like the interview question, like, oh, it's good, but it's bad.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
it's bad, but it's good.
All right, so let's go into episode 2, which we titled "Why Colombians." So,
And that's one of our most popular episodes, I think, as far as I know.
yeah, people like it. Fun anecdote. I got a girl to listen to the podcast, and she
You
was
got
like,
a girl? Wait, sorry, you got a girl?
to listen to the podcast.
You got a girl to
just
listen
got the
to.
girl part.
We
Okay.
finally got a girl listener.
We finally got
Thank
a girl.
God.
Okay,
Except Gabby, who's sleeping.
Yeah, you bored her.
And she's sleeping.
and funny because she was like, "Oh, I loved episode 2. You talked a lot, except when the old man came at the end, and the old man was
That was
Andrew's
my
dad.
dad. My dad comes in and tells us the history of food.
Oh, wait, that's the girl you were showing it to? She said she didn't.
Well, I
She's
just
like-
shared it to her.
Yeah, she said,
she's
"Oh,
like,
it was so
Except
good."
when the old man came in and we're talking about Andrew's father. Oh, that's not cool. I hope.
No.
I
When-
hope Mr. Julio.
Yeah,
don't take
no.
that anyway.
Don
We're gonna
Julio,
have you back.
Las mejores.
Not Mr. Julio. Don Julio.
But actually, what I'm going to show you is the very beginning of the episode, and you ask a question, and you ask a question specifically to Joel. We'll get to that, but I want to know what you think you answered then, and what your actual answer will be right now, and we'll see later what you answered.
All right. Roll.
Today we're going to be talking about why Colombians and why we love them. Why we love Colombians and what we hate about it too. I asked the internet to ask us some questions, and that's what we're going to do. So
Shout out to the paintings.
Colombians, or why we
No,
love Colombia?
it's a series of questions.
Andrew looks particularly thin.
So by the way, none of us know what questions are coming from
Yeah.
anyone.
Only I
This
do.
is open forum. He knows questions. I think I spent all day and I got 2 questions. I don't know if
Oh,
Luis.
by the way-
checking what's up.
For this one, we upgraded to having 2 microphones.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And actually, you can see in the bottom the shotgun that we used for the first one. It's just laying down.
Right. It's just
Like-
laying down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we're just trying to figure out how to do this shit.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Right now, and that's like one of the rules of a podcast. No WhatsApp.
No phones.
No phones. Throwing him on blast. And Jason, I don't know if you have any questions, but
Maybe I was doing some engineering work, but you know, now you just put me on.
Engineering work.
This is really good sound work.
Wait, you studied engineering?
Yeah,
so
so-
kick it off.
Do some
Alright,
engineering
so the
work.
first question that I got was a pretty good one. And it's a question that I get asked a lot. So, and it might not apply to you guys. It might apply to you guys. But the question that I get a lot is why Medellin? So I'll go with Joel first. Joel, why Medellin? Why are you living here?
so why Medellin? Why do you choose to settle house, if you will, in
That
Medellin?
was the first question.
That
So
that
I
was
haven't seen
first
the
thing.
answer to this yet.
Yeah.
No.
I can't remember, obviously, because we were at least a 3/4 bottle down in
Oh, yeah.
Havana Club, if you look on the table.
Yep.
Yeah, shout out to what's
To
his name?
Don Pedro.
Don Pedro.
Don Pedro. Well, I'd say, like, okay, to make this really quick so we can roll through, I would say my reason for settling Medellin is one, from the moment I showed up here on a bus from Cartagena, I felt like, wow, this place is spectacular with the amazing orange bricks and whatever else. I was like, there's something interesting. But one, the people are great, and I felt accepted. But I think more than anything, I think possibility. I think I can't remember what I said then, but I'd been to Cartagena. I'd been to I think like 10 or 11 countries before coming to Colombia and to Medellin, and I saw that there was something more to Colombia than tourism. I felt like you didn't have to have a bar, which is what my original plan when traveling was to open a bar or a hostel with a bit of money that I saved. I felt like here there were so many possibilities. There were so many things missing that if anybody could just like open their eyes for a bit and look around, that people just wanted. And I thought that possibility was what Medellin was to me.
Do you echo that sentiment or?
No. Why Medellin? If I were to answer that question today, I would say that I settled in Medellin because it was better than Bogota.
Straight up.
Straight up, yeah. Because I was living in Bogota for 6 months. I got here and I'm like, this is way better than there, and I don't want to go back to Bogota, so I stayed here. And then I made friends, and I started teaching English. I was working online, and yeah, the rest is history.
All right, let's see what Joel answered.
You know, I've been asked that question quite a few times, and most people automatically assume the girls, which I guess has a big part to do with it also. But I'm from Toronto, and any of you who've been to Toronto, and if you haven't been, everyone always talks about Canada cold. I'm from Canada cold, and so one of the main reasons that I like Medellin is the weather. Perfect, like 25, 26 degrees apart from a few hot days throughout the year. And the other thing, honestly, at the end of the day, I've traveled a lot. I love Latin America, and the one thing I can say about Medellin is that there's potential. So
There you go.
but there's a lot of potential here, meaning whether you're in real estate, whether you want to start a business, whether you want to meet up.
Well,
Yo, but can I a quick thing about episode 2, and it's probably going to apply
ahead.
to the next like 8 episodes. I think what's the opposite of the word matured?
We've degraded.
We have become some degenerate motherfuckers.
yes.
I look at those episodes and I'm like, wow, we were so matured. I had a perfect leg cross. My skin's glistening. Andrew's just sitting back, not mentioning certain words that we'll never mention on this show. And we were just great. We were matured, you know.
Well, it's
now
actually
we've come to this.
It's actually funny you mentioned that, because basically what we are about to see, which is a clip at the ending of episode 3, it's basically us coming out of the beta, or maybe the alpha of the episodes, meaning our trial period.
Okay.
Episode 3 is the first episode where we had a guest.
Oh, Richard? Was that Richard?
Yes,
That was Richard.
it was Richard. And
Scotland.
And the thing was how to spend a weekend in Medellin. I have never seen a group of people go so fast from being completely sober to completely derailed. I was
Drunk, you mean?
yes.
Okay.
But derailed off topic too.
Derailed off topic.
And,
okay.
and, 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 and I was hearing, I was sitting against this wall here, basically panicking.
Because of how derailed we were?
Yes. And because like we had a normal bottle, it was more people, less alcohol, and it hit harder than ever. I don't understand how that happened.
I don't even remember what we were drinking.
We were
let's check it in the
drinking.
clip.
We're drinking rum because
All right.
you don't drink whiskey. But anyways,
You are today.
and you know, we were talking about challenges before, and this was the very first challenge where I had to. You never gave me an ending, so I had to come up with an ending. I had to. The podcast never wrap up. And we just got drunker and drunker, more belligerent.
Okay, wow.
And yeah, so I had to like do some, I guess, editing, juggling.
All right, let's see it.
So for those of you that can't see the screen, it just says, "How would you cap off your weekend in Medellin?"
Yeah. They're gonna see the screen. He's an editing.
I'm
genius.
thinking of what I heard. I don't know.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
But I might have not been at the
Wait,
I don't know.
It's like think what we have to do to get us off the board. You think like the first time,
Let's
the
not
second
use
time,
real
the
names,
third.
but-
No, I'm just saying like.
You said let's not use real names because he mentioned someone who got deported from here.
Okay.
Yeah, someone that we know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was like, oh, and
That's such a hard conversation to follow. By
yeah,
the way.
and the sound quality doesn't help. This is the first time that poor recording really hurt us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's hard to follow.
Call him queef. You can't call him queef. It's been like a fucking hour. You call him where
Did I just call you a queef? I think I called you a queef.
Yeah.
Fuck, fast forward this shit.
Ain't nobody got
Like 2 hours
time
later.
for this.
Talking about our homeboy queef.
I'm checking my messages.
My boy Randy, absolutely like zero body fat, but I saw him push somebody one time.
Wait. Pause this shit for a second. I love how Felipe is like, yo, Andrew, how are you gonna round off the weekend? Andrew's, well, I got this boy, my boy Randy, who's 1% body fat. I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with rounding off the weekend? I got Randy, I'm gonna send you this shit. How do you know? Well, Randy, he's got 1% body fat, so therefore, I love it, man. That's the Medellin podcast right there.
He pushed the
It's like
guy.
he's scared.
I was like,
It's like
all right,
Richard in 2011 before he
all
started.
right. So what's the last question?
So what's the last question?
That's a name.
That's like, we can't talk about that.
Bukaki? What? Who's that
Oh,
guy?
we're at the end of the book. Yo, can we get famous first before we fuck our show?
Oh God.
I think that's
Wow, what was that? Episode 3?
yeah.
That was episode 3.
I got nothing to say about that.
Yeah,
There's
I've got-
absolutely
We had a
nothing.
lot of work ahead of us.
A lot of work. We got a lot of self-development.
Well, that was when we recorded and we didn't think, we were like, I don't give a fuck who's watches. No one's going to watch
no
anyway.
one's gonna watch.
Maybe my mom and she'll get offended and cry and then,
And we said we're gonna invite a guest.
yeah.
We didn't even plan the microphone thing out properly. I think we had to.
Yeah, because the original plan was to just be the four of us all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe have guests now and then.
Right.
And things after that episode, I think you guys
Okay, no comment.
no
Next
comment?
episode, no comment.
All right.
Yeah.
This episode also saw the birth of, let's call it a meme or a recurring theme amongst things that we talk about in the podcast. You'll see in a second.
All right.
Many don't know, like foreigners don't know that hygiene is very important in Colombia.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, pause this shit for a goddamn second. Many foreigners. She said many foreigners don't know that hygiene
It's an issue.
is an
here.
issue in this country.
Yeah.
Let's run that shit. Just so you can hear what she said.
Quickly.
Many foreigners don't know. And yeah, you're right. Hygiene became a very, very important topic. All right, let it rip.
Tu estudiante huele como fuertecito.
What is that?
Wow.
Your students.
Yeah.
So she had the guy at Hija Mia, and the people at Hija Mia were telling her, the guy smells
A
bad.
little strong. A little
Yeah,
strong.
a little too strong.
Okay.
I got you. A little strong.
Yeah.
The Indians. smell
Huele
like
como
curry.
fuertecito. Yo, sí.
All right. So that's
So episode 4 was a fun episode to film and to be live. Unfortunately, we couldn't have the video up for technical reasons and non-technical reasons.
Yeah.
So I think our goal for 2020 is to have Violeta back on.
Yeah.
with pants.
Yeah.
And have a proper episode with her because she has a fun guest.
Yeah.
She's super awesome. She's one of our friends.
Actually, again, spoilers alert. I'm helping Violeta develop her own podcast.
Oh, good for you.
I think we're gonna have her back to cross promote each other's podcast.
What is it going to be called?
I have no idea.
El podcast de Medellin.
El podcast.
El podcast.
De
All right.
Medellin.
So episode 5 is by far our most heard and watched episode.
Alan
Góngora.
Góngora.
We talked about the law, visas, prostitution, drugs,
Donkey fucking.
and donkey fucking.
And by the way, when we have the Medellin podcast awards, like the Oscars and the Grammys and shit, Alan, you'll be invited. You can wear your tux.
the Puskies.
The Poskies. Yeah, for sure.
What's the deal with drugs
No,
out here?
this is true.
Coming from a legal standpoint. And obviously, I never know what to tell these guys. I'm like, well, first of all, you should probably not get involved with stuff that could get you killed.
Good advice.
And that even means going out to buy the drugs somewhere. So, from your perspective,
Shout out to the plan.
what drugs are legal here? Like, I know well, first of all, let's start with weed. Is weed legal?
All right, so let's get into first the facts. Okay, so,
Yeah.
so the law itself, and then I want to also talk about sort of a little bit of context. So, because this is a little bit of a controversial issue, as you guys might imagine. So,
Yeah.
So, first on marijuana. Pot.
We were still
So,
operating with two
there are
microphones
two
and the
ways
shotgun.
to have pot legally. Excuse me. Damn, this thing is kicking in.
Pot? How old are you, Alan?
It's kicking in. So there are two ways that you can physically have in your possession marijuana. The first is if you have a prescription, because in Colombia, medical marijuana is actually legal.
Really?
So if you have a doctor that's willing to prescribe you marijuana or cannabis derivatives, that's absolutely legal, and you can go and fill this prescription. And
At that point, that was the biggest word used on
the
this show,
second
derivatives.
is just for personal use.
Okay.
Okay, here are the numbers. If you're walking around and they stop you, and somehow, some way, you can fit in 20 grams of marijuana in your person,
Like plug-in.
you
want to fit in your person.
in your person, anywhere in your body, or in your person, up to 20 grams, that is absolutely positively.
But what is 20 grams?
Well, okay, all right, so-
what is 20? Is that?
Yeah, well, like, it could be like 20 grams in one bag or like in little baggies.
That's actually a very
Let's get
good
into
question.
that. Let's get into that. So,
Yeah, okay.
So if you have 20 grams, up
I've
to
been
20
there.
grams, that is absolutely legal.
Okay.
If it's hashish, it's 5 grams. Okay.
My eyes are popping out my head.
Yeah, she's out here.
Oh, you can get hashish. You can get
You got so excited about the
No, my
pros-
eyes are popping.
No, it's just that, believe me, people call us. We have a healthy, whether it's good or not, we have a very healthy.
You got so excited about the idea of
practice
planting a tree.
Okay.
for any number of reasons. It's just people come to us with any number of reasons. But anyway, hashish, 5 grams.
Okay.
I also get this all the time. What if I just cultivate pot? Like I just have several plants in my home.
Yeah.
That's absolutely positively legal so long as you can show that it's for personal use. So if you have 5-6 plants and whatever, that's fine.
So excited.
You can grow a plant.
Fine.
How many plants can you grow?
So
I'm gonna grow a plant.
the answer there is that it has to pass the laugh test. Like if you have an entire finca full of pot, that is not going to pass the
That's
laugh test.
not. Yeah, that's not.
So, but if you have several plants at home and you're not going to obviously potentially deal, then that's for personal
Okay,
use.
okay.
So I could have a pot plant in my living room.
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
would they do that?
I still don't have a
That's-
pot
that's
plant in
like,
my living room.
Episode 20. or
Yeah.
something. So how's your
Episode
pot
20,
going?
there
How's it
was
going?
no pot plant.
No pot plant.
Exactly. So
Okay.
that's on the marijuana side. On the cocaine side, it's the same analysis, sort of, but the numbers completely change. It's on your person, in your home, up to 1 gram. Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
So, like, if a cop stops you, frisks you, and let's say you have a gram on you,
less, yeah.
and
Less.
or less, and he starts telling you, because this is very common, he starts telling you that I'm going to take you to jail, blah blah blah, because you're not supposed to have this. Obviously, you're a foreigner here. What's your defense there?
Your defense. Well, the 2 things you can do, and we get this all the time. So,
Is
if
Alan
you're
throwing up the
gonna do
Illuminati
something like
side?
that, you can basically tell them, this is cocaine if you want to, but it's below the minimum of 1 gram. So this is not illegal.
How do you say gram in Spanish?
Gram.
Gram. Okay.
Secondly, and we get this all the time, if this happens in public, this could go either way, but we normally do recommend this. Take your fucking phone out.
Yeah.
And you record everything. Okay? Because we've had situations, and it appears to be not exactly endemic, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Where you get stopped and suddenly, your gram turns into 20 grams.
Oh shit.
You're like, where are the other?
Where are they? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you can record, if you're in public, you can record as much as you want, legally speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was eye-opening for me because this and the part about prostitution, because prostitution I always linked to illegality, and I for the longest time I just thought that maybe the legal systems were just turning an blind eye into this kind of stuff, but it turns out it's super legal. Like there's very legal things about drugs and prostitution.
Is that when you started dabbling in the prostitution?
Oh hell yeah!
No, for me, that was the what he actually said was to start recording. Let's say you have a gram of cocaine on you, and a cop stops you, or two. Usually it's two. Stop you. He said you should start recording so that you get on recording that they're pulling out just one bag, right? Mm-hmm. Because like you said, one bag can turn into 20. But then I'm thinking, literally at that moment, I remember what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, if I pull out my phone and start recording, what's to stop this cop from beating my ass, taking my phone and fucking stomping it, and then taking me to jail?
How would he know it's not a weapon that you're reaching to your pocket to take out the film?
Granted. So I thought about that. So that's why I always have data on my phone now. So I will go literally Facebook, Instagram live because that gets recorded to the cloud immediately. That would be my.
He actually says that. Yeah, I after we've.
He does. Okay.
He says, and make sure that the recording is going into the cloud.
Dang. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He actually says that.
Yeah, because it could be just like they could beat you up and shit, and I thought about that actually.
And not that it happens that often, but it can happen. So. We tell it like it is here.
Yeah.
There's shitty cops here. There's good cops
Shitty cops everywhere.
Yeah. This clip is... if you want to learn how not to do advertising, this is it. This is how not to do advertising.
All right. So we've got our drinks poured here. And this is actually a special bottle because it's the first time ever in the Medellin podcast that someone offered to bring us alcohol, and it's actually called, what is this called? Amazotic.
Amazotic.
It's like hypnotic, but Amazotic. And according to the paperwork that I printed out.
That's some good paperwork. What does it taste like, though?
Well, we're going to taste it right now. So this is made from super fruits from...
Wait, don't say it yet. Let's do it this way. Made from super fruits. Let's do a taste.
Yeah, let's do a taste.
Joanna, okay, you can't pass the mic. Let's go.
Thank you.
Cheers firstly to Amazotic.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for bringing it by.
All right, wait. Don't shout it out.
It smells like chicle.
Oh, that's really good. Actually, that's pretty good. It kind of reminds me of Pony Malta, like Malta, like something.
Yeah, a little
malted.
bit. Mm-hmm. But sweeter.
Fruits. Yellow fruits.
Yeah, no shit.
No, it reminds me of something actually. It reminds me of Costa Rica. I was traveling in Costa Rica. It reminds me of something like pulque, like what, sort of like, I don't know, but like at least natives in Costa Rica and other places would drink.
Do you get a hint of the hypnotic though? Like he said that it's like the Colombian hypnotic. Like he's trying to go for the hypnotic taste. It does, at least the texture gives me that, but...
Texture?
It does. It's like a...
If you guys been watching this show, you know Andrew don't know shit about texture. But
he still doesn't know shit about it.
That was like, it's
pause this shit for a second. Pause this shit. Andrew's still be throwing out these texture-like comments down at Igomia and all this shit with his like cultivated palate. If Andrew ever mentions any shit about texture and taste, Andrew is the one person that says everything tastes the same when it's going down his throat.
That's true.
And I don't know where he came up with this shit. That's why I'm dying in this. People, you have to know this man. He does not give a fuck. If the food chews, he eats it. That's basically, if it's vegan now.
Let me get a quick throwback.
Oh no shit about texture.
He don't know.
Let's just keep going.
Right.
So, hey guys, thank you very much. That was like it's good. We're gonna finish that part.
Yeah.
And if this is hypnotic, I'm honestly afraid to answer the next question.
This is not.
Hey, I remember.
This is certified El Sena curse how not to do advertising.
No, wait. By the way, episode 1 or 2, I remember us saying,
Oh my
one
gosh.
day somebody's gonna sponsor us, blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah. So this is episode what?
This is episode 9.
Who reached out to Andrew
Yeah.
to do a beautiful plug of their program of their product.
And we
It didn't go well.
We did it. We
It
did
didn't
them
go
fair. We did this aired, so we did them fair. But
The outtakes.
this is not how to do advertising.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
However, on this episode also rose another recurring theme that has been throughout the podcast, which is the theme of safety.
All right.
And Joanna being our first female guest, no, our second female guest, but our first guest on video. We actually asked her a lot about how safe she feels in the city. So this is where she talks about that.
You keep farting.
It's the shirt.
Can't fart.
When you walk in the streets in the daytime in Romania, 1 to 10, how safe do you feel? 10 being the safest in Romania.
12.
You feel extra safe in the day.
Yeah.
In Medellin, 1 to 10, how do you feel safe-wise? Daytime.
Depending on the area, like if it's here where we
Poblado.
are
Okay,
right now,
Say Poblado.
I would say a 9.
9. So you
That's
got
a
little
huge
hint
statement.
of insecurity.
From 12 to 9.
Nighttime
Yeah.
in Romania.
That would be a 9 as well.
Nighttime, just
Well,
rolling, strolling around. What?
Yeah, I mean, it's
By yourself, by the way.
by myself a 9, with friends, totally 10.
Okay, so 9. Medellin, call it Poblado because most foreigners are going to come to Poblado. Walking around, let's say,
10
you have
o'clock
to
at
leave
night.
here, 10 o'clock at night, you have to walk down, meet some friends down in Provenza. How
Yes,
safe do you feel?
I always get a cab.
You
Like,
always
I
get
don't
cab,
feel, I don't feel safe walking down the street by myself. And it's, I mean, I'm still a woman traveling, you know, not home, not in a.
Can you pause this shit for a second?
Right.
Just random observation. Why does Andrew have so many notes? What in the hell?
Because I'm
my-
Masonic. Because I'm
Masonic.
Masonic.
Look at the
It's not a Masonic.
Wow. How? What? You had 5 or 10 papers to pronounce one name.
Amazonique.
It's a Masonic.
It's all their ingredients.
You're like, you're in a Baptist church fanning yourself. I'm like, look at what is that stack of papers? We don't even have papers on this show. Like, what is good? Roll this shit, man. Look at that shit. So
I
classy,
think
Andrew.
It's just self-preservation.
But if somebody looks at you,
That's it.
Okay, so
Well, touching on that safety tip,
Yeah.
I do understand why she says that. And I do think that. Well, personally, I believe that Medellin right now in December is at the most unsafest it's been all year, because it is December. Well, it was December and now it's January. But December was probably the most unsafest time to be in Medellin.
holiday season is the most
November,
dangerous
December,
because
January.
People have money.
Because people typically, if you don't know, most people that are a salaried employee, they get their regular salary, plus they get what is called a prima, which is like their holiday bonus. And usually it's like substantial. So thieves and crooks know that people are going out to shop for things, shop for Christmas gifts. So they scope you out. They wait for you to come out of the shopping centers or whatever, follow you home, and jack you. Especially if you're walking, you're easy target. But yeah, I agree with her statement there. Especially being a female, I would not feel safe in Medellin, 100%. Especially during the holiday season.
Yeah. Walk in at night.
Right.
So right now we're about to watch a clip from episode a 10 with Nick Bowman.
Okay.
And this is where we really start to double down on ending each episode with a advice for foreigners who want to come live here in the city.
That's when our shit got fucked up. We started to try to give advice. So we're not going to give you guys any more advice.
But I think that the advice he gives, it's particularly good.
All right. Why do you keep farting every time you bend towards the camera? That's not cool.
That's reality, man. It sounds like the parents from the Peanuts.
A few times it sounds like in a few different places. What would you give? Let's say there's a 25, 26, 27-year-old, right? They're planning to take off to come live in Medellin, go to Cali, be a DJ, be a whatever the hell they want to be, a massage therapist. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to live that, call it more life of adventure, nomadic, whatever type life? What would you say?
Yeah, arrive open-minded, and don't be so arrogant. I think a lot of people leave whatever country, with their privileged background or whatever, and then they arrive in a place like this and they have all these demands and expectations, everything.
Yeah.
I'd say arrive with the humility.
Yep.
And not such high expectations, and realize that things in Colombia are going to be very different. They're going to be a lot slower to get things done. For example, I see a lot of people arrive here with a certain amount of arrogance.
Yeah.
And those people don't survive.
They want it to be back home.
Exactly. They expect it to be exactly like it is back in the States, or exactly like it is to be back in England.
Like a motherfucking prick. And I'm going to use this forum to call this motherfucker out. What the fuck was his name? I should look you up right now if I could. And somebody posted today that they went to a glamping thing. They spent like 320,000 pesos, which as far as I'm fucking concerned for two is not a lot of money. Right? I don't care if you're in Colombia. It's 100. It's less than
glamping for $100.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Wait. Hold up. You're talking about that post on Gringo Paisa, which I'm a moderator of. And then there's this. Yeah, I saw that.
So he's pissed off about the service. I agree. Either way, regardless if you're paying $1, you should still get good service.
You should get good service.
Whatever. So it's
and
not about you.
The right to call him out.
Of course. Publish it. Then this guy, who I later found out was from Toronto. I'm not going to call your name, but I'm talking about you, which I'm from Toronto, and I feel fucking ashamed. This guy said that Colombia plus luxury basically doesn't exist because Colombians basically, I'm going to summarize, don't have the first clue about what luxury is.
Do you remember this? Of course.
Some very, very degrading stuff about Colombia. And then he even commented on his own comment to say that, and he bets that in Medellin, if he was to turn every stone over, he would not find anywhere with iron dollar bills or iron money or whatever. Meaning, like, from what I interpret, that has shit proper. Because luxury here and the people here. Oh, he called them, wasn't cavemen? I think he called it cavemen. People cavemen here, because he's accustomed to whatever luxury wherever he lives in Toronto. I'm from Toronto. And unless he's in and you've got people like that coming here and saying stuff like that because they expect to come here and be like boss life because they make dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, and they expect to come here and be treated like kings.
Well, and in reality, they're actually broke.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're spending $100 or $200 to go glamping, and you expect fucking top. I mean, obviously the guy in the post, he got done wrong, and he should have got better service.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the guy in the comments.
Yeah.
Like,
so just for
saying that he doesn't
for context,
have luxury out here, but
someone
he's not a Stefan
posted that they got done wrong glamping, and someone else started posting those degrading comments that you're speaking about.
Yeah, and that guy
probably
doesn't even live. I mean, it's been like a few months. Probably not living in Medellin anymore. Probably has to go back to his corporate life and working and making his $100,000 a year.
Of course.
And coming back down, he'll probably come back down in 3 months or whatever, pretending he's a baller. And that happens a lot here. Usually, when you see people that are real ballers, they've been around the world. And they know that Medellin is special. They know that you don't go for 300,000 pesos glamping.
Yeah.
They know that it's going to be 1.3, 1.2 for real glamping. And there is, because I'm going in February with Daniel Montgomery. I don't know if I told you that.
No.
Yeah. Don't worry. I already got it booked.
Yeah.
We're all going to go. And it's going to be awesome right here. But it's not 300,000 pesos.
Well, firstly,
if someone says that they're going to go glamping for $100,
yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, in terms of service, if you pay for the service, you should be treated as good as possible.
No.
But go.
I'm disagree with that. And earlier we mentioned about a 5-star. You asked if there was 5-star properties. When I worked in tourism for quite a few years in Mexico, and here's the first thing: if you're accustomed to staying at the Bellagio, that's Las Vegas, I assume.
yes,
Yeah.
it is.
If you're like the Bellagio, I'm assuming it's a 5-star hotel. What a 5-star hotel in Las Vegas is not a 5-star hotel in Calcutta, right? Right?
Five stars will depend.
5-star depends on your location.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, and that's a response I used to have to give to a lot of clients. But I think what Andrew's saying also is that, listen, there's guys dodging bullets at home, literally maybe, and then they come here with their $100 and they expect to be treated like kings. Now, maybe. But to be quite honest, there's other people that are spending that 1.3 million pesos, $400 a night to go glamping. And yes, service is service. But you can't come here, right? You can't be at home dodging bullets.
Just because your money serves triple here, that doesn't make you anything else.
That doesn't make you triple as special.
No.
It makes you the same dude that you are back home.
Absolutely.
I am the same dude I am back home with a bit more purchasing power. Purchasing power. So the thing is, we've got a lot of those guys out here. They come here and they're like, oh yeah, they want to be treated like a king. They want to get like the best girls because they're wearing their fancy Nikes or whatever shit. They expect to go glamping, the word glamorous, for $100 because you're here, and they come on this level. And I think, like, for us, after you've been here for so long, and that's another thing, that if you've been here for as long as we have, we've met a lot of people that have come through with a whole lot of talk. We know those people. They come through and they talk this whole baller lifestyle. I'm a digital nomad and whatever. And at the end of the day, they can't even survive 6 months because they don't have the money.
They can survive, but it's renting.
Yeah.
They're never going to come out here and buy a property. They probably don't have any properties anywhere. And they probably won't for a while because they're digital nomads. They spend what they make.
Yeah.
So ultimately, like the reason for this clip is, come with humility. Come with open arms about what this country and the city and this department can offer you, and be grateful about it. And if you really don't like spending your money here, then go somewhere else.
Exactly like our podcast. If you don't like to listen to it, sign off, move on. If you don't like this country and there's a whole lot of complaints, and we do have complaints about certain things, but hey, we're here and we love it. And
it's cool.
And it's cool. Keep it going.
Yep. All right.
Nick Bowman, big shout out to DJ Nick Bowman, wherever you are spinning that techno trance.
Joel said that we're going to the next Nick Bowman
techno
concert
trance,
for sure.
Techno trance concert.
Yeah.
Coming up, it's episode 12, which is your favorite. Sang Min. And I like this one. You are going to appreciate this because it's you love talking about entrepreneurship on this podcast and business. And Brandon in particular had a particularly rough story setting up his business, his restaurant here.
I remember, yes.
It's even on the teaser for the episode. You go look it up. You ask him, tell the fucked up story about the grills.
Yeah.
And so this clip coming up is about him telling the fucked up story about the grills.
Hit it. The grills.
You gotta stop.
Everybody's watching this. Felipe keeps farting every time he leans over to touch the screen, and it's not. It's
fucked up story, man.
Yeah,
what happened with the Korean barbecue?
Story. Okay. So it happened. So actually, I've been living here since like 3 years ago. But as I told you guys, my restaurant is getting close to the second anniversary, right?
Okay.
So then more than a year, I was actually trying to open the business, which I don't know, the system didn't allow me to do it.
Why?
Because even though I had the papers, fiador, the cosigner system.
Just to rent the place.
Yeah, exactly. So that took like literally 8 months, and I was trying to deal with the real estate agencies, and they couldn't understand it. So when I finally signed up a contract, so I was happy. I was ready to go. Okay, I'll just like fucking do it in a month and then open it. But then I wanted to sign a contract with a construction agency, remodeling. So I was talking with my friends, and it was a recommendation of a friend, which she helped me design the restaurant. And then that guy, actually her recommendation, long story short, he stole my money. He just stole my investment.
That sucks, man.
How much money was that?
It was so based on the contract, it said 60% upfront. So I said, okay, cool, I'll do it. So I did it, and then the contract says they would do it for 25 working days, right?
Okay.
All right, not a big deal. So I pay them, but then later this guy was like partially asking me, can you send me a little bit more? So I said I see nothing's going on in my restaurant for 2 weeks. It's closed.
Right.
I live very close to the restaurant. Every day I go, it's closed. Like, no, Brandon, with that attitude, I don't know. I don't know if I can do something with you, blah, blah. I say, what do you mean?
So the guy not only hustled him out of his money, he was giving him
money?
attitude.
And he's like, no, but read the contract. It says, partially, he could ask.
Right.
All right.
So you guys are in the middle of doing remodelations and dealing with properties, even though it's not for a business. But how has been your experience with that as of now?
Well, I'll tell you my experience. I leave all of it to Joel.
So, Joel, take it away.
I would think in general it's a positive experience.
Right. But you did have a run-in with something.
You have people. I think it doesn't
with
matter.
someone
But
cheating.
it doesn't honestly. If you come to Colombia expecting miracles, that things are going to run differently than they do back in Europe or North America, you have problems. I've spoken to a lot of friends of mine that have properties in Canada, the US, even in Europe, and there's always real fucked up shit that happens. There's always people that are trying to make an easy buck by not doing anything. I'd say I'm pretty new to this game, so I don't know shit. There's no knowledge to really drop on this, except that, structure your contracts and whatever else, wherever you are, whether it's in business, in property or whatever, in phases, so that you don't drop a big contract on somebody with a lot of money and depend on them to deliver based on the fact that they have a nice website or they had a nice presentation. That you should structure a contract into phases, phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and test them out on phase 1. And if they suck on phase 1, fire their ass. And hopefully you're doing your background work that you can have other companies waiting to come in for phase 2, 3, and 4. And, Brandon, in the stage of business that he's in this particular episode, the phase of business that we've been in, I've been taken on many occasions. And, it's what is it? Hindsight is
2020.
So hindsight is 2020, but learn from people like me, like Brandon, that have made mistakes, and don't just throw your money out to people here or anywhere in the world and be like, oh yeah, they're going to do a great job. They've got a nice site and this person recommended them. Test them out. There's no problem. If anybody that's a really good entrepreneur, that has a really good business, they're willing to let you test them out. And if they're good, they're probably going to over deliver. And if not, fire them.
And even if they just deliver, relish in the fact that they deliver what they promised to deliver. So now test them out through phases.
Yeah.
Phase 1, test them out. If they don't deliver, fire their
But
asses.
I think, to reiterate, I think that's actually a genius move that Joel did. I mean, he's the one in charge of this, but he said, we're going to do them, we're going to put them in contracts, but only for projects. And I think that holds truth for many different things. For example, if you're doing digital marketing, if you're making a website plus SEO plus social media, don't hire a company to do all of it because it's very rare that a company is going to be good at everything.
Be hands-on.
Well, not only that, but contract them to do a separate contract to do SEO, a separate contract to do this, and a separate contract to do that. Just like he was doing, or we're doing with the contractors to build our building. We have a project to take down the walls. We have the project to lay down the flooring. Yeah. We've got a project to put up the kitchen. We've got the project to do the interior decoration. The company claims to do everything. Yeah. They can do everything. And they want that big contract. But we're like, fuck you. No, we're going to do one by one each contract. We're going to evaluate. And if we like it, we're going to continue to the next project. If not, fire your ass. Thank you. And then we'll go over. And we did that because and it was successful. Because
the company had great references, by the way. And just like Brandon didn't just pick a company out of his ass. Right, Brandon probably got recommended that this construction
was
company,
in that particular story, a personal friend that was helping him develop the business recommended this contractor and completely screw him over.
And the thing is, man, honestly, in business in general, whether you're in Medellin or anywhere else, you'll get fucked at some point. And I think it's how you handle it and what you learn. Moving forward, because I met with the first contractors. You know, we sat down. We had personal references from the owners of Vihamia Cafe, who are our friends and stuff, and they did really good work. And honestly,
but that was a small project.
It was a small project. So in general, and I think what Andrew's saying is right. Like if you're gonna hire somebody, hire them and tell them about the other projects and see if they get to those other projects and they actually deliver more than they're talking about, because we know a lot of people, including, friends of ours, that talk a lot more than they can deliver.
Yeah, and I think that the key is that if someone's telling you that they can do everything, don't hire them to do everything.
Don't hire them to do
Tell them to do the beginning stage first. That's a first contract, and if you deliver, great, we'll move on. If not, then we go. Then we move on to another person.
Well, fair enough. There you go. That's I think that's a great gold nugget for information in general.
I agree. That's probably the best thing we've had in this whole podcast right now.
Yeah.
Like to anybody listening, if you're gonna come and do business anywhere in the world, make sure that you get a contract.
And I think it's fair to say that there's nuggets like that in basically all of our episodes.
Yeah, this is why that post on Instagram was, if you can filter through our rambling. There's stuff that anybody that's interesting, like if you look at the titles of our podcasts, I think that they basically say that there is some hidden gem in there. If you're going to open a hostel anywhere in the world and you look at any of our hostel owner podcasts, there's something in there that you can gain for your own business, man. And honestly, learn from other people's mistakes. Like we're talking about properties now, and all the stuff we're talking about. Me and Andrew, we've made, I think, like a lot of mistakes that to us, how we frame them in terms of business is not that we've made these massive mistakes. And people talk about failing fast. I had this discussion with a few friends. It's not about failing, because in anything that I think we've done over the last, call it 5 or 6 years in business together, we've never actually failed. We've just tried really fast. Some of the ideas we've had haven't succeeded, and you keep on going. So I think like that's a whole other thing to people. And we talked about just getting shit going, man. Let your idea, not you, let your idea fail fast if that's what it has to do, and just, keep on moving. Brandon's testimony right now. By the way, if nobody know this, please, he has 2 restaurants.
Yeah, he is now open from being scammed to open a second restaurant in less than 2 years. Yeah, that's a huge testament.
And he's a great DJ.
Yeah,
and he's a great DJ.
DJ Super Coreano.
Throw it up on there. Throw the link up on there. We watch him DJ.
Right here.
Yeah, throw it up there. All right.
Next episode. Moving on.
So this next clip, it's the podcast that we did in Mexico, and one of the things we already talked a little bit about it, but we talked about safety in Medellin. Medellin. Is Medellin a safe place? I will reckon it is. Will you ever get robbed? You could get robbed. It could happen.
You can get robbed.
You can get robbed.
You can get robbed.
And our very good friend Carl Erbrock not only got robbed here twice, he also got robbed in Mexico, where he now lives.
And Andrew strangled the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew strangled. Wow.
Well,
okay.
yeah, just for the fun of
Just
it.
to put it up. Okay.
Yeah, just for the fun of it. But and he actually dies in the episode.
Would you rob this guy though? You won't rob this guy. Anyways.
Anyway, here's a clip of our friend Kyle describing his experience getting robbed.
Max has never seen this shit. Max ain't seen this shit. Max ain't
How do you feel about safety? Have you ever had any run-ins in
Yeah,
Colombia?
well, I've actually had the opposite. You know, I've been robbed.
I think easily the drunkest podcast we've
I've been
done.
robbed here in Mexico, and I've been robbed in Colombia, and both by gunpoint, both like tough situations. Well, I think what you realize is that like there's, it's hard to put it like I want to call it like corruption, but there's so much opportunity not to get caught doing something that it creates more people, like opportunity for people to like rob.
Sure.
And so you got to have your head on a swivel, and like you lose track of that. So like in Colombia when I got robbed, right? Like I had a routine. I like running out of routine. I think most of us like entrepreneurial type people and people that digital nomads, whatever you want to call them, they kind of like run out of their routines. Like we do the same things. We go to the same.
So when you got robbed,
like I got spotted and like it happened.
Wait, when you got robbed at gunpoint in Colombia,
Yeah.
Can you describe that if you don't mind?
Yeah. In the Res at an awesome coffee shop I used to always go in the afternoon.
La Reles by the first park or second park?
By the first park.
Okay.
Wrong.
And
Right by UPB.
right by UPB, right? You guys like right off there, and I lived on like Circular Dos. Anyone that knows, but like in Lorelas, and
Fun fact: he got robbed a block and a half away from where I live.
That's not a fun fact. That's not fun.
happened so quick that you don't really expect it. Like it was 3:30 in the afternoon for me.
And you guys were at the cafe. It was you and
Cafe
Sam, right?
outside, like, and you just get used to like working on your laptop, and you don't realize like, holy shit, like someone could be spotting us, and there's like 2 laptops, 2 MacBooks, and 2 iPhones sitting on the table, and it's a good shout. And the guy got within a couple feet of me, gun in my face, you know, and it's like it happens, and it's reality, and it happens.
And
then
you said-
go, and then it messes with your psyche because you can be the other guy that goes, I've never had this happen.
Yeah.
But now, like as soon as it happens to you, it F's with you, right?
Right.
After Kyle got robbed, I was tripping, man. Like I wouldn't like want to go out with my computer. I wouldn't want to like go out and at nighttime with like a backpack full of stuff. I'd also said when I wrote this piece for Medellin Buzz, I said like one thing that I would always do is like limit my vulnerability.
Let's just drop some real knowledge here. If you're in Colombia, if you're in Medellin, there's a chance that you might be robbed. If you act all scared and shit, and you run in your little taxi and you go from here to here and blah, 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 and you think you're so safe, you could get robbed. Because there is a big reality that...
Oh, no. Wait. If you're scared and you run taxi or Uber from here to here...
No, even if you think that because you're scared, all you're going to do is go from taxi from point A to point B, and you're going to be safe. It doesn't mean you're going to be safe because...
But you will be safer.
Hold on. But one of the most common robberies in Medellin, if I'm not mistaken, is the 2 or 3 motorbikes that pull up like this beside your taxi or beside your car, right? And 2 people on this bike, and 1 behind, and they pull up.
Yeah, but that's very uncommon.
But it's not uncommon. It's not.
But
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm gonna say. It's uncommon if you're just sitting in a taxi. No one's gonna roll up to you if you're sitting in the back of a taxi. However, if you're rolling with like an iPod.
No, wait, hold on.
All right.
So
Put me on this.
So if you're in traffic in Medellin, anywhere in Medellin, you're not gonna get robbed. Trust me, you're not gonna get robbed. The chances of you getting robbed it's not gonna happen. If you're in traffic on El Palo con la playa in the middle of the day
and you get robbed,
you might get robbed. Wait, hold on. You might get robbed. If you're in an Uber with tinted windows, the chances are that you're not going to get robbed.
Exactly.
That you're not going to get robbed. So,
however, if you were in the taxi and you do get robbed, chances are you were being spotted, as Kyle says on that.
Right. That you were being traced. They were watching.
Let's not be biased on this shit because I'm going to be a little biased, Andrew, on our opinion. Max sitting in the motherfucking thing over here with his like Exposed. So,
Chanclas.
have you been robbed here, Max?
No. But
Come over here. Talk
Louder.
Come over. Talk this. Have you been robbed, Max?
no, I have not.
Bend
But
down and talk to the mic.
I've heard that it's usual to get robbed in a taxi, like in Cali, because every time I
Well, but Cali is
every time I put my phone out in a taxi, they were like, "Okay, take that away," because motorbikes that drives past, they can just get up to the window and.
Well, the fact and actual fact is that Medellin used to be one of the most dangerous cities. Now other cities are way more dangerous in Colombia.
Hold a second. Listen, you're saying it. Okay, go ahead.
No. But I'm just saying. Moral of that particular story is don't go around flashing. If you're gonna sit down in a co-working space,
hold on,
or in a cafe, that's fine. Just be aware.
But we have to define
shit can happen.
We have to define what flashing is because, for example, pulling out your phone and checking your address, the address you're going to, in the back of a taxi, may not be flashing to a foreigner.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Here in Colombia, if you're in the wrong neighborhood, that's a no-no. If you're in downtown, if you're on El Palo with Ayacucho or with La Playa at 10 o'clock at night, you pull out your phone, it's probably not a good idea.
You're very good-looking phone.
Yeah. Or on top of that, not only 10 o'clock at night, but maybe in the middle of the day when there's high traffic and you're boxed in with a taxi, it's probably not a good idea. You're better off going outside and looking on your phone because you'd be able to run. You're a sitting duck in these traffic jams in downtown. So, I mean, I guess to end my point is that the probability of you getting robbed in Medellin is higher than at home, but it's not that bad if you're actually street savvy and you're not doing stupid shit.
Coming next as episode 15, Son del Barril.
Son del Barril.
So this is a lighter example. It's not a heavy topic. It's just...
This is the episode where the microphones got disconnected and we had like bad sound.
Yes. So speaking of challenges, a little behind the scenes, you farted. Tao's microphone died on us. He did a wrong move.
Yeah, he did something. He moved somewhere it actually disconnected.
That's because Tao tried to dance and Tao's not the dancing type.
No, it wasn't even that time.
Cut the contrary. Yeah. And you will see in this clip.
Yeah, okay, we'll play the clip.
From what I remember.
It's very funny of you to say that.
Play the clip. Run the clip.
Or like a Chinese.
Wait.
Like a Chinese. Like a Latino in bed.
Or like a Chinese.
Just say, man. Just say the only reason that she...
By this point, his microphone had already died.
You can what? Hey!
We're just going on bleed.
For anybody watching, you can what?
No.
Say it again.
I actually use this camera's microphone.
Because I could dance.
Yeah!
What do you call? Wait. Before we go to the shop.
So you think he can dance?
Yeah, so you think it was Simon Cowell and shit. So you think so Tom, you think you can dance? Let's see what you got. I'm willing to clear this whole shit out. Wait, what the fuck? Wait, all right, you go ahead.
Well, I guess contemplating on the Son de Barril
dancing
episode.
Moves? Okay.
Which was episode what?
Dance moves?
This is episode 15.
Episode 15 was, it was a very funny episode because it was four of us, so it was a bigger dynamic, right? More personalities to deal with, and then
more dynamics,
and they got stoned before they got onto the fucking podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was
we
hilarious.
asked, they said yes.
Yes.
Get the filter closer to the microphone.
What?
It's a fuck in the middle of... Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Anyway, So they got stoned before the podcast, and I don't do drugs other than meth.
Yeah, and what are these? It's like
I only do meth and
Some
heroin.
primeros.
it's like meth. Okay, are we allowed to say meth?
Let's get.
But anyway, we were talking about Son de Barril. What was your biggest takeaway from that episode, other than the fact that they can't dance with the shit?
I got some takeaways.
All right,
got
so
something. Give me-
I guess my biggest takeaway.
You go. Give me
my
the
biggest takeaway.
Don't steal my takeaway.
No, my biggest takeaway
Don't steal
was
my-
that
That was
Envima is a motherfucker for a lot of
Yeah.
these companies out here.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are listening, that love business and shit, we're gonna do big things in 2020, Joel. Envima charges for every product that you want to put out. Let's say you have
4 million.
what?
4 million.
What?
4
Oh
million.
yeah, they were talking about 4 million per let's say per flavor or per recipe. So let's say I've got
three.
Well, let's say I've got 3 fucking jelly recipes. It doesn't even have to be beer. It could be peanut butter, jelly. It could be anything, honey. But I've got 3 different recipes of jelly or jam or whatever it is. You have to pay 3 times.
That you want to launch nationally.
And
like you want to take them on.
Not only do you have to pay, but you have to pass certain requirements that they have, which is like health standard requirements for your plant, for your manufacturing, for your bottling. So it's an endeavor. It's an endeavor to get that. So that was my biggest takeaway. But as an investor, like let's say that you do have some money and that you do want to come to Colombia and you have aspirations into making some money out here. Other than real estate, realize that there are people that are doing a lot of work out here and that have, let's say, a base here that are looking for investors. For example, like Son de Barril. They have great beers. We're drinking them right now, and we love them. We fucking buy a 24 pack every other month if we could.
Yeah.
And we can, and we will. But if you're an investor, there are people like that are actually making a product that need this Envima license. And once you have this Envima license, you can actually distribute into bigger places and restaurants,
chain markets,
markets that are chains, franchises, whoever wants to distribute your product. So I think that was my biggest takeaway from Son de Barril, other than the fucking shenanigans that we got into.
Yeah, no, I honestly agree, and I think there's if you're an investor, and this is something that we're not going to spill our ideas out here, but there's people that are looking for investment, and speak to your lawyers. If you invest a certain amount of money here into Colombia, into a business or whatever, you can get your visa. So if you're looking for a visa and you're just like cash heavy, this is a great place because there's a lot of people hustling, trying to launch businesses. And I think one of my biggest takeaway from that episode, looking at those guys was something that I guess I've known for a long time that's just been confirmed, is that, and we felt it in our business, a few years ago, is that cash is king. And a lot of people, one of the biggest problems with business is, you can look at it on any of your fancy podcast people that you want to look or listen to, is that if cash flow is limited, your business is pretty much limited. And that goes down to investment and funding and whatever. And a lot of people here in Medellin have amazing ideas. There's a lot of things here. We've got some business ideas that honestly, if you're cash and finance heavy, there's a lot of stuff that you can get into here. You can hit us up. We can tell you, because those aren't the things that we want to go after. But if you have cash, Medellin is a great place to invest and get into business, because there's a lot of things that are not being done. And a lot of these guys out here, whether it's like Son de Barril, maybe they've got, and I don't want to speak bad, incorrectly, but there's a lot of people here that are just looking for financing. So if you're a finance person, I think this is a great place to get into. You come here, chill out for 3 months, and just speak to people around, and just people that need to be financed, and they have amazing ideas.
Episode 16.
All right.
is the first actual paisa we had on the show.
On this episode, we talked to Sophia. Pink hair, don't care. That's what we called her. The N word. Let's talk about the N word. This episode to me was very enlightening. Because we met with Sophia, who's from, I would say, the hood in Medellin, and we had a bit of like criticism about her and who she is and whether she's Colombian, whether she's from Medellin, and a bunch of haters. You know, the funny thing is, the first time we had, like, I would say, like, a real girl from Medellin that's not from the rich part of Medellin, we had a lot of fucking people calling and hating and talking about a lot of stuff. And it's the first time I think we ever commented someone that was hating because they were, like, hating on her. And listen, Medellin, as she says, is not poblado. Medellin is a very big place. And everyone's different. And the thing is, we were talking about the N-word. In the US and Canada, if you say the N-word and you are not African-American, Afro-Canadian, black, I'm going to say black, and you're throwing out the N-word, you could get your ass kicked. Here, the N-word in Colombia is thrown around, I'd say jovially, where no one really looks at it as a racist thing. As a matter of fact, it might elevate you a bit because...
Well, it's on sheer ignorance. It's on sheer ignorance because they hear hip-hop songs with the word nigga in it. And they're like, oh, it's okay to say that.
Yeah.
But it's not because they think that nigga is the word to call people. It's because they think that that's what every American and African-American person calls each other.
But in the hip-hop scene.
Exactly. So when they hear that, and this is your only source of communication, which is YouTube, or your only source of connection
Music
to that
videos.
world, to the North American world, it's like, oh yeah, you're my nigga.
But it's
right. Am I wrong?
I agree with you.
Am I missing something?
But it's not only ignorance. It's also cultural appropriation, in the sense that they think that calling themselves that is cool or appropriate.
I love that word that he just said. Cultural appropriation. That actually does make sense because they say it in a sense to where, like, if I say it, you're gonna accept me into you. Yes, and I got that from my students.
Here is not disrespectful to call yourself to call other people that, because they think, as you were saying, that it's okay to call other people.
And not only it's okay, but I'm gonna be accepted as knowing your culture.
If I say that,
It's just like saying "anigaseo" or how do you say in Japanese "arigato"? Like, oh, if I say "arigato," you're gonna laugh and we're gonna be accepted because I know something about your culture, right?
Yeah,
it's almost the same.
And so here, what I think happened was that people that were saying that thought that everyone in the U.S. called themselves that.
Right.
That.
So run the clip, man. Run the clip.
Run it.
Run the clip. Do you call somebody from Japan a gringo?
For us, any Asian is chino.
Okay. Any Asian is chino. All right. So somebody from
from Philippines.
From the Philippines, chino.
It's chino.
Africa.
Africano.
No, but they didn't speak. You saw them walk by. Let's say they had.
He could be Colombian.
But he had traditional clothes on. You could tell he's from Africa. You would say.
Sorry, but a nigga from America.
Let's talk about this. I like that, man. Yes! Say it, girl.
Yeah, it's not derogatory. It's I've never heard that word spoken here in a derogatory manner.
So to finish up, we have the last episode we have published so far before the recording of this episode, which is the one with Brent. And I thought that this particular moment was interesting because he talks about Medellin 2010 versus Medellin 2019. And we just finished 2019. So I was curious to know how you guys feel about how Medellin was in 2019, in 2010 versus 2019.
Your take on what Medellin was like back in 2010, now going on 2020.
It's interesting because Uribe was still president in 2010,
Yeah,
right?
Uribe, yeah.
And so things were a little bit different. I mean, he ran the city a different way, and in some ways, like I remember, it was actually safer in 2010 than like kind of when it got to be 2012 when Santos came to power, because he had to legalize everything, you know, and actually like. So if people were getting robbed on the corner of the street, Uribe would just like send some people out and like, you know, that'd be fine, take care of it.
We could pause it here.
But then like under Santos is like.
So what I got out of this episode is that Brent isn't Uribista.
Is he?
Well,
I didn't get that at all.
Is he? No, I'm just kidding. No, but the biggest thing that I got out of this episode with Brent being the hostel owner is that owning a hostel and having the business day in and day out, it's going to give you money. And eventually you'll get out of the red into the black, meaning that you'll get out of debt into profit.
But you had to hustle a lot.
And you're going to have to hustle a lot. But the real money is in the real estate ownership. They were smart enough to buy the property. And when was it? 2010, he said?
Yes, they bought it in
2010. They bought the property in 2010. They started the business, and the business kept them afloat. But the real money is in that property ownership, because they bought this giant house for what was $100,000 back then, and now it's a lot worth a lot more. And eventually, in 10 years, obviously he's not in retirement age. Let's say 20 years from now, it's going to be a lot more money. They can sell it divided by 2 because it's 2 brothers. On top of all the revenue that they've made through the booking of the rooms, the events that they hold, which is a lot of work, but I think the real profit comes from the appreciation of the property, and that's what I got out of that. What did you get out of listening to Brent?
I think like the biggest takeaway from Brent's episode is something that I say all the time, and I've heard. At least I would say of the 20, at least 10 were entrepreneurs on this show. And it's the same thing. Don't like there's a lot of struggle. Like there's don't think like I'm gonna open a hostel because I discovered Playa del Carmen and my shit's just gonna fly and I'm gonna be rich and I'm gonna have a great, like lovely life. It's like there's a lot of work that goes into owning a business. And I think like Brent, you know, he made that very clear. Like they had a great vision. He had a great vision, but it's not just a walk in the park every time. You got to work for whatever you want, even here in Medellin, as much as the opportunities exist.
Right.
I mean, that's awesome. And well, what would you be your final takeaway after watching all these clips? What will be your final takeaway from all the podcasts that we've done so far?
My final takeaway is that even though I've been here almost 10 years, going on 10 years, is that I still have a lot to learn. I've evolved from having very little to almost nothing in this country for various reasons that I don't disclose on this podcast because they're personal, to having what I have now, which is not a lot, but it's more than what I had before, and it's
relativity.
It's more than what I had in the United States as well. I think with the money that I'm making here, I still wouldn't have what I have here in the United States. So what I've taken away from meeting all these people and talking to my friends, really, they're all my friends, is that I have a lot to learn and I have a lot more risk taking to do. Because all these people have taken a lot of risk. And I think I've taken big risks, but not big enough to where it could catapult me into the next level of wealth, happiness, and lifestyle that I would like. I'm not saying that I want to be some bougie ass bitch, but I do want to have the finer things. I do want to be able to travel to Paris if the girl that I'm dating says, hey, I want fucking duck.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to fucking Paris.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to taste whatever. All right, let's go to Thailand.
Yeah.
I can't do that, but eventually I will. I'm nearing my 40s, and I think that 2020 is going to be an amazing great year for us.
Great year.
And I hope that we document it to show people, not only people, but maybe my sister's offsprings or my brother's offsprings, because I don't think I have any children's, because I'm barren.
Children.
I don't even know if I'm
You're
barren.
the barren straight,
No,
aren't you?
I've
a straight
no,
barren?
I've slipped a couple past the goalie. Hey, you know,
Yeah, you're
Canadian.
you're a puck slip.
Canadian.
What about you, Joel?
Honestly, I've learned that I don't know shit about shit from this podcast. And I've learned that I don't know shit about anybody until I really meet them on this podcast. Because, as Andrew said, we've met friends here. We've met people that we don't even know about. And you don't know anything about anyone until you sit down and you talk to them for 2 hours. Like real questions. And that's, I think, the beauty of this podcast is that even our friends, we've learned a lot about them. And other than not knowing shit about shit, is I think like the biggest thing, like what I think like I would like to take into 2020 at least, and into the podcast moving forward, is that everyone has a story, man.
Yep.
Everyone has a story that's different than ours. And ours might seem harder. We might think that we're in this struggle. We might think, what the hell, whatever we want to think. But everyone has a story. And I just hope that in 2020, on the Medellin podcast, we bring people with real stories. And if you've got a real story to tell, you know, we're not trying to, if you're not trying to run for mayor or president or whatever, you don't have a political agenda or any sort of agenda, you just want to let people know what's up. This is the place to be, and that's what we're talking about.
Actually, you mentioned in previous episodes that your dream guests are people like Maluma, J Balvin, and they are great in terms of like a high-reaching audience. But I think personally, I would like to have someone like the new mayor of the city, like. Can I stop 1 second for 1 second? So here's why. So in case this becomes a clip, I said, and when we first started this, we made this list. We still have the list of people that we want to aspire to have on this show. The reason that I say that we want J Balvin and Maluma, and we call these big names on in this stage, in this little ghetto ass little office in comparison to where they live, is not because it's just like, oh, it's J Balvin's, whatever. Here's what I think, and I listen to whether it's my sister and other people. They think that to get to J Balvin and Maluma's level, it's some sort of fucking handout that these men, women from here got to get to the point that they are. They are some of the biggest artists in the world as we speak right now. Hardest working people. And I think a lot of people, they come on here, they trash talk J Balvin, they trash talk Maluma, oh, pretty boy, blah, blah, I don't like him, I don't like here, blah, blah, blah. Like, trust me, these guys, they put in the work. And even if, and here's the thing, and here's why it's very important. I can attest that J Balvin on the list is.
But whichever one we want to talk about.
You have to be pretty hard working.
They're working hard to get to the top performers in the world. And here's the other thing. We talk about it on our little stupid 900 or 1,000 followers or what the hell we have on our level.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about people like Maluma, and you can talk about, oh, he didn't hold the baby properly. He didn't hug the mom properly. You don't know all the good things that man does for the place that he's been in, because nobody wants to talk about that. It's not newsworthy. If Maluma came here and he paid for a parking lot for crippled, you think it'll hit the news? No, but if Maluma didn't hug that baby that everyone looked at as like a tender soul, and he didn't hug them, it'll make the news. So what I'm trying to talk about, what I think that we would like to, even in the folks that come here to talk about entrepreneurship and stuff, it's not an easy road. It's not that I'm J Balvin, I'm Maluma, so therefore they will love me. It's that they've been through struggles, and this is what it took to get to that level. And you know why else? I'll say this on a closing, is that, you know, we talk about Obama, whether or not you're a fan of his or not. There's a big reason for me being a man of color or black male, any way you want to put it, why Obama is really important. Mm-hmm. The reason is that it gives people like, not me, because my generation is past on that, but younger generations, that it's possible to be whatever an Obama is.
Reach positions.
So whether it's J Balvin and Maluma, who are just reggaeton stars, and we will look down on them because, oh, it's reggaeton and we don't like reggaeton, they're doing great things for this city. They're putting this city on the map every time Medellin comes out of their map.
I agree. And my point was that I think one of our goals moving forward is that we always want to have interesting guests.
Of course.
Regardless of level of fame or accomplishment, if you're someone interesting, we don't want to have anyone here just because we need to have a guest.
Of course. We don't need to have a guest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think have proven ourselves enough that we can reach that.
Can I ask a question in closing?
Yeah.
Who's the guest? Both of you think about it. You're gonna answer first. Who's your guest for 2020 that we will have? We will have.
I have two.
Hit me with that.
Dream, just because I would love to have her.
Look into that camera and say it, man.
Just because I would like to have her. Sofia Gomez.
Okay.
But actual dream that I think will propel this shit to the sky is Juanes.
You took my.
Well, invent some more then.
Yeah, you took my words out of my.
So both of you say Juanes?
Well, I would say James, but
Juanes?
Juanes.
No.
But I would say Juanes.
No,
I would say Juanes. I would say Juanes, but as far as sports figures, I think like Tello would be awesome.
Yeah,
he's a basketball player, or
Falcao would be awesome.
Well, I'm a basketball guy. I mean,
okay.
I don't even know if they speak English enough, but I know that Angola and Tello both speak English enough to be on this podcast. But even if they don't speak English, I guess James, Quintero, I mean Cuadrado,
fucking
he's from out here.
Rigoberto Urán.
Rigoberto Urán. I mean, I would love to have some sort of a sports guy out here because we haven't talked about sports in Colombia. But yeah, that would be my goal, to have someone in the sports world, even if it's like one of the women on the basketball teams that just won gold medal. Yeah, I mean,
I think Tejo is going to be. Hey, Tejo, I'm going to send this clip to you right now. You're coming on here. You're going to sit with us when you're back from Spain. You know Max, you know Joe, you know all those guys. We've shared one drink together, so we're technically family.
He doesn't drink.
Should we?
He's a professional athlete.
But you're not gonna drink for the next 3 months. So
yeah, this is. By the way, this is my last time I've been drinking on the podcast for the next 3 months. I'm training for the Medellin marathon.
Yeah.
So
I'll probably do the same because I'm training just to be bald, black, and beautiful.
So wait. So should we send a message to Juanes?
Juanes, we're the Medellin podcast. We're 20 episodes deep. We've got a long way to go. We're nobodies in the world of production and whatever else, but that doesn't matter. What we're trying to do here is to show Medellin from many different perspectives, from the most famous, which you're probably one of them, to the least famous. We're interviewing people from Robledo to Poblado. We don't really care. But what we want to do is we want to give hope to people that are here, and we want to show them the people of Medellin from every single walk of life. So if by chance you're a publicist, you're a manager, whatever, allows you or tells you that we want you here, we really do want you here to talk about some real shit, have some drinks. I've got one bottle of this reserved Crown Royal from Canada to sit down and talk with me, Andrew, and Felipe about life in Medellin, what it took for you to get to the place that you are in today. That's what we want to know about, and how you can inspire future artists to be just like you.
This was episode 21. For those of you guys that are listening on podcast or watching us on YouTube, thank you for watching us in 2019. I hope that 2020 is going to be an amazing year for you and your family. I know we're going to have an amazing one because we're going to be working towards it to entertain you and to enlighten you. If you guys want to follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. You can also catch us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts,
Spreaker,
all
iHeartRadio
in the world.
Yeah, all of the podcast platforms. And if you don't find us on one, just send us a message.
We'll be there by the end.
Oh, he'll hook it up. He'll hook it up. I won't hook it up. He won't hook it up. He will hook it up. Thank you for following us. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Juanes, see you this year.